Good morning, beautiful people. It's Thursday, July 9th, 2020. Big day, big day. The Ivy League. Yes, the group of nerds said that we will not have sports this fall. They become the first conference to say that they are canceling sports for the fall semester. Now, there was a report that came out that said they won't make a decision until January 1. Robin Harris, the executive director of the Ivy League, was just on Golick and Wingo with Golick Jr. and Jason Fitzmagic, and she was talking about the entire thing, and she said that is not accurate. What the January 1st date is not accurate. We will continue to read and see what's going on. She was then asked if a vaccine is needed for her to, and she says she has no idea. She's just going off of what campus policies are, basically. So a lot of these Ivy League campuses, I guess you're only allowed 25 people in a certain area. You're only allowed so many people in a dorm. Some professors aren't even allowed to go back. There's only a certain amount of people allowed back on campus, and they view the student athletes as students first, which makes sense because being a student is what's going to make most of these people, almost all of these people, money, as opposed to being an athlete, which is very different than every other conference that exists in the world. But they are the first sports conference that has come out and said, hey, we are not going to have football this fall. We will not have sports this fall. And we will make a decision later on down the road as things continue to unfold. She was then asked, have you spoke to other conference commissioners and what's their take, basically? And she said that her and the other commissioners have been on regular calls for the last couple of months trying to figure out and everything. And she said that this is going to be a case-by-case basis depending on what the campus's rules are in each conference. She did not allude to the fact at all that since the Ivy League is canceling this fall, that any other conference is also deciding to cancel. It seems as if this is very much going to be a school-by-school campus rule rollout on who's going to play, who's not going to play. And boy, we're going to learn very, very, very quickly what schools are very motivated by sports in the fall and what sports are not, because I think there's going to be some schools that say, no, we're not going to do sports. It's not worth it because these are our campus rules. You can't have this person here, can't do that, can't have this many people in a place. We don't care how much money it makes. We don't care how awesome it is for our school, how many more people maybe enroll in this school, how much nicer our classes are. We don't care about any of that. We care about the safety of the student. And then whenever one school says we care about the safety of our students, and then another school says, no, we're coming back because we can do this is what our campus is doing, then what happens in the future? Well, whenever you're recruiting, you got to remember that this school wanted to kill somebody, this school didn't. I mean, it's just one big circus that's going to go round and round. And I think college football, and I don't like being a negative guy. I'm not a negative guy. I feel like I'm a rather positive guy. Yeah. There's some things I'm negative about. Cream cheese, sour cream, hate them, get them the hell away from me. Did a little wedding tasting yesterday. There was some sour cream and some cream cheese that showed up in some things. I'll tell you what, they're going to make it because I'm selfless enough to know it's not just me eating at the wedding, but boy, I almost vomited right in front of an executive chef's face yesterday. So there are some things that I am very negative about, but I feel like I'm rather positive. College football, I don't know how it's going to happen because you have people that don't give a damn about football or don't give a damn about whatever other sports are in the. That was very sad for me to not know a single other sport that happens in the fall on college campuses.
Field hockey.
Okay, there we go.
Volleyball.
Does it?
Feels like
it's still.
So I'm not the only one. Thank you. Okay, so there's big question marks in here, but there's people on these campuses that will be soccer. Is it in fall?
That might be in the spring.
That's what I'm saying. We
it
don't
was
know.
at Duquesne, so I figured.
Okay, but. Yeah, I think it's in the fall. Soccer at West Virginia was in the fall too. Because if I was going to play it, that would have been a hilarious schedule. Would not have been where I'm at if I was to do it. And I don't know if I would have ever gotten in good enough shape to play, to be honest. A lot of puking in those days. Win or lose, McAfee still runs with spring training rules, and that was a little bit of a bum. But it feels like people who aren't just football minded and business of football minded, they're going to be making these decisions, whether the football people like it or not. In the NFL, you got football and you got the business of football that are going to be driving the return to football. So they're going to bend over backwards however they can to make sure that the NFL comes back because it's business and it's football, and that's all they care about. With the NCAA and college football, you got a lot of people that don't give a damn about sports, don't give a damn about football, that they are there to enrich and hopefully further educate students that choose to come to the university. They're going to be making admissions people. You got campus health folks, presidents of presidents of schools. You got a lot of people that aren't just the athletic director and the head coach of a team making decisions there. And I think that is why it's going to be very difficult to get college football back, because you got a lot of people that are like, no, not going to do it. Yeah, but when we sell like 120,000 tickets and we make a lot of money in those little classrooms that you have, they get much nicer whenever we do. Yeah, but am I going to die because of that? I'm out. There's going to be so much discourse, I think, between those. In the college world, there's a lot more opportunity for that as opposed to the NFL. And the Ivy League becomes first school to officially make it happen. And I'm not going to say that it feels like that's going to happen everywhere else, but boy, I feel like there's going to be some conversations from some people that don't care about sports with people that really live with sports and say, hey, it's not just about you right now. There's a lot of other decisions that have to be made at Tone Diggs. How do you feel?
Yeah, I agree 100% that like the people that are making the decisions may not care about football, but I do think they care about like the bottom line. And if they don't play football, they're gonna have to do like what Stanford did and cancel 11 sports. Like they're just like those things just are never gonna exist at their university again. So maybe they'll look at the bottom line and be like, well, yeah, we could get sick, but also we make a lot of money.
No. I think the people that look at the bottom line, by the way, are normally the sports people and normally like maybe the president. But you have all those other people that, I don't want to say grandstand, but it does feel as if there's a potential chance here for somebody to stand up and say, I am going to be safer than everybody else and look out for everybody else. Not that they're wrong, by the way. In grandstanding would allege that they're wrong. I don't mean that, but I'm saying they'll come out and be like, no, we can't do this for this. And I think there is going to be quite a conversation that takes place. Ask Ty Schmidt, who got accepted into Harvard, chose not to go to Harvard because he wanted to play baseball in Iowa. So very standard operation. Now you're working here. Who knows what happens if you go to Harvard and don't play baseball in Iowa?
Probably would have failed out. But.
Yeah, probably. I'd assume. But you know what you wouldn't be doing this fall? Playing any sports or saying hi to anybody because it feels like their campuses are going to be locked down for real, for real.
I'm sure they don't have anything in place yet, but how do you think this will affect recruiting? Like if let's say, someone goes to wherever an SEC school and they decide to cancel that whole incoming class, do you think they would potentially be able to get released from their scholarships to go play elsewhere?
And what about the seniors, right?
Right.
The red shirt seniors, because there's like a gray shirt, a blue shirt, a red shirt. There's all these shirts that you could potentially get. There's like if you're ineligible but you get eligible shirt, then there's like an injury shirt, and then there's a red shirt whenever they just choose to sit you out. So like I had a friend who hit every single shirt, and he could have been a doctor by the end of his time at West Virginia. I think he was there for like 7-8 years. I wonder if there's going to be a suspension shirt that you could put on somebody instead of the red shirt. Like, hey, since the season was suspended here, you get another year of eligibility. I just don't know how you handle all of that, but it feels like those are things that I would assume people are already talking about. Like, how do we do this with seniors, redshirt seniors? They don't have another year of eligibility. Who knows if they can go to the NFL or anything else? Do they come back for another year? Then what do we have? We have potentially 7 classes, all in 7 classes of students all in one locker room. Can we even facilitate a whole extra class like that if we had to? There's a lot of things that, and then let alone if the social distancing rules in the locker rooms maintain and those only grow. I mean, this is just a little bit of the tip of the iceberg, the Ivy League. Now, granted, it's the smartest one with the least amount of professional athletes, but I think that is one that that's just showcasing a little bit of probably the conversations that are happening behind the scenes that are like, I don't know if we're going to be able to make this happen.
Yeah, because spring sports from this last year, I know, got an extra year of eligibility, but none of them
Nailed it. Hey,
That'd be tough.
nailed it.
But none of them have 25 incoming players like football does or something like that.
Yeah, so I don't know how any of that works.
Do you think it's going to be like a domino situation where like one fairly like big school says, hey, we're not doing it this year, and then you'll see just a bunch of other schools follow suit?
Ohio State paused their voluntary workouts, and they are not releasing the number of tests that came back positive that they gave out. HIPAA, dude. They care about the HIPAA law.
Yeah.
No, but anytime that happens, like anytime somebody goes, I plead to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. It's like, oh, that guy's guilty. Okay. Whenever Ohio State's like, well, we're not going to release the test results and we're pausing voluntary workouts, it's like, oh, that must have been a yodely
Every
situation.
single student athlete you have has COVID.
But that's what
that's what you're saying.
at
Ohio
Boston
State.
Connor alluding to some things, reading between the lines, he says, but with those cool glasses, dude.
Hey, cool glasses.
Well, I don't have any on, but you do.
Well, I see them on your table. Cool glasses.
They're right here, yeah. Good call. But with those cool glasses, you were able to read through the lines there, and you think that just every human potentially in Ohio State's campus right now has COVID-19?
Yeah, I think that if you want college football to happen this year, then you should take a nap till 2022 because it's not coming back.
Whoa. We don't need your
Connor,
I
tie-dye
apologize.
wearing wolf shirt ass right now, bringing that type of gloom and doom to everybody. Lion! Okay, I don't think that's accurate either. And Robin Harris was asked by Fitzmagic on ESPN if the thought of having a spring season is something that, because that's now the thought is like, okay, if college football doesn't happen during the fall, move it to the spring, maybe a shortened season, like 8 games, maybe 10 games, figure it out. Then you go into fall again and we're back in the world. And you start doing the math, and that's only like and I say only because it's a lot larger than a normal college football, but if they were to go through the spring session and fall, it'd be like 20 games if they do 8 games, 10, 9 games or something, like 21 games. That's an NFL season, right? So the people, they're going to come out and say, well, that's an incredibly long season with not a lot of turnover. I agree, because it's very different for college football. That is not how the whole thing goes and everything like that. But it is not unheard of to do that amount of games in a, 8-month period or 9-month period or whatever. But it feels like behind closed doors, there's some people probably taking a lot of vitamins trying to figure out how the hell we get this season in. And can we? If we don't, how do we move forward? But nobody knows, dude. Nobody knows. Like the MLS, they just had the MLS's back tournament kick off last night. I mean, that was a big deal. That is a big deal. Outdoor sport, 22 people on the field. Who knows the media people that are scattered around the outside. It's happening in Orlando. It might be 7,000 degrees down there, by the way. We're watching. These dudes are coming out of quarantine. These dudes are going right into these games. And last night had 10 extra minutes of extra time. They were dead tired. But them making this happen, the MLS making this happen, like that's good news, I think, for every other sport that's looking around. Now, there's been 2 teams that have dropped out because I believe they're going into the bubble. Their tests came back too positive. They're like, well, we got to get to – we are what we like to call a problem in this biodome because we have a lot of failed tests. We're going to get out of here. But them making that happen is something I think a lot of other leagues are like, the MLS was able to figure it out, and they haven't been able to figure out much whenever we go. Great game last night. 96th minute, 97th minute, got a game winner from Nani. I will say this, the MLS, great soccer players, wonderfully talented. It's tough to watch after watching the Premier League. But it was a great packed thing. But I think a lot of other sports are looking at that. In their mask rules, make no sense. Okay? And we have been very much on the how do any of these rules make sense campaign, because if you start thinking about the rules, none of it really makes sense. Like these MLS guys go into this dome, okay, into this sphere where they're in their rooms, they're getting food sent to them, but everybody that they're encountering has been tested and has come back negative. If they haven't come back negative, they're getting locked down. So if you get into this biodome, this sphere, this world, this Truman Show, okay, you get in there and you went in with no COVID-19 and everybody in there has no COVID-19, you would think that would be okay, hey, we're all on the same page, but they have masks on before the games. They have masks on after the games, and during the games, they're on top of each other while it's happening, and none of it makes any sense. It's like, first of all, if they have masks on before and after, is that just for the optics of it, or is it because you think that's going to be safer? Because when they're on top of each other during the game, no masks at all because you can't breathe. And then further the question, if they had to pass a test to get in here, nobody has it, is COVID-19 coming down like Macho Man Randy Savage from the clods over there in Orlando? I guess is that a possibility? Just none of the rules make sense. But I think the MLS coming back last night, massive ordeal for every other sports league that's watching.
See, I just assume they did it before and after the game.
By the way, look at our social distancing here, please.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Can't even.
Fantastic.
Can't even look at that. If the arm doesn't fit,
You must quit.
you must quit. Marion County, the county that we are in, has enforced a mask policy if you cannot socially distance. So if you look in that back room, Jason McAfee's there. Viva Lazito, who's in the middle, has a mask on. Doesn't have his nose covered, so I'm not.
This is for food. I'm on a diet. The food can't go in.
No, it is not. There's a law that was just placed.
No.
Yeah.
I've been eating too much.
But look, so we have separation here. We're abiding by all the rules. But these rules still don't make sense to me. They still don't make any sense to me. Like in Indianapolis, if you're in a car with somebody that you maybe been quarantined with, you're supposed to have the mask on. You guys go into a bar or restaurant, though, go ahead and take them off. It's like, what? So I go into public. So I go from my house into a car, lock it down, okay? You go to a public place, though, take it off. But when you leave that, put it back on. It just, none of it. Like, I understand what we're trying to do. And this is unprecedented times. But I'm about sick of having to hear all this different garbage because it's like picking through who's telling you what and who. By the way, both people might be telling you what their facts are, but what facts are right, you have no idea. This is a insane time to be alive. I just hope that I survive through it to see the other side.
I'd like to say this as starting off with, I'm not a doctor.
Noble.
Thank
By
you.
the way, you did go to Duquesne, which could potentially have had its fall sports canceled now, but there's not enough grass on the campus for it to be considered an Ivy League, although they do charge as if it is an Ivy League school.
Correct. So I'm thinking.
Go Dukes.
Great day to be a Duke. I'm thinking you have to wear a mask before and after the game because your heart rate has dropped down to its normal resting heart rate. But if your heart rate is above 90 to 100 BPMs, the disease cannot get in because your blood is pumping so fast that the disease cannot. It's like jumping into whitewater rapids.
Yeah.
It's just not smart.
Oh, so Red Bull vodkas. Maybe the answer to this whole thing.
Maybe.
Red Bull vodkas, just get your
Okay.
heart through the sky and then hit that downer on it too. So then you're throwing a curveball at COVID-19. Maybe that is the right move.
Here we go, 2020.
Ivy League, though. Listening to that Robin Harris interview this morning on Golick and Wingo. By the way, Mike Golick Sr., I don't know if that's what he's called or if he's just called
Big goal.
OG Mike Golick, original Mike Golick. Mike Golick.
Big goal.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
He and I had a one-way hatred. I don't think he knew that I hated him, but I definitely hated him. Was going to murder him on Twitter one time, like actually hashtag RIP Mike Golick. And that was going to trend because I was giving away like 4 primetime tickets to the Indianapolis Colts game, like front row. So that would have got probably 4,000 answers. So that thing would have trended. He would have had to come out and say, I'm not dead. Why did you have to say that? Because a punter said it. And the reason why I had this hatred is because he said that nobody should be taking the punter serious when he's talking or something like that after the Griff Whalen worst play in the history of the thing. Whatever. So Mike Golick and I had like a 2-week hatred. Well, he didn't know. He didn't know that I hated him. He had no idea. Ultimately, Colts PR caught wind of what I was going to do and begged me not to do it because they didn't want his family to find out. And I didn't even think about the personal side. I only thought about him having to come out and say, I'm not dead, I'm not dead, I'm not dead. This is because of a punter speaking who he kind of mocked the week before for speaking. So it was me, you know, I think we've learned a little bit about me with Mike Wilpon now that I do have a little bit of a hey, let's go ahead and go to war if you would like to type thing. But not, you know, not always. I'll just keep that legit. I just thought it was a funny little, whoop, here we go. But what he was able to accomplish for 21 years doing a morning show, that's like a 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. wake-up call, 4 hours in the middle of whatever sports are in this off-season of sports for over 2 decades, being entertaining, enlightening, and watchable and listenable for 4 hours for 20. That is very, 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 very impressive. And especially now that we're in this world a little bit, I mean, that is incredibly impressive and hell of a run. Congrats on a great career. You didn't know that I hated you for 2 weeks? But I got over that after I actually met him. Good guy, funny guy. And he played in the league, so he's allowed to take shots at punters because I always have that rule. Like, hey, if you played in the league, you can take shot at punters and kickers. If you didn't, you can get it then if you want. If you hey, this is thunder, this is lightning. Don't get caught in a storm, okay? You know how you get caught up in a storm? Go ahead and say something about kickers, punters. You never played a sport in your life. But everybody else. So I was over Golick, but I didn't give him a shout out yesterday or the day before. I think it is well warranted for us to say, like, yo, Mike Golick, hell of a run. Congratulations on all that. But on Golick and Wingo this morning, Robin Harris, when she was speaking to the Ivy League executive director, she did not allude to the fact at all that any other conferences are going to do what she's doing. And she said they've been in constant contact. So I think all these conferences, college conferences, are trying to make things happen, trying to make it work. But with all these rules contradicting each other in every single phase of life, I don't know how campus rules are going to be the ones that are going to decide anything because I bet you they're all going to contradict each other. And who knows how it's going to work. But that's COVID, baby.
Is there any
we got to get to a break. What's your question?
Fair.
No.
Is there any chance that like one school per conference will ignore the campus rules? Or
I think there is a great chance that there are numerous schools and numerous conferences that are like, so it's now our time to create our own little thing here.
Chasing the title, baby.
Bingo.
And we got no fans, right? We don't give a damn about the fans. I think there's going to be some schools that, just like the NFL, are going to do whatever they can to make it happen. Yeah. But then I think there's going to be a lot of schools that are going to be like, we can't put everybody on that's on our payroll basically at risk. So what if it's at homeschooling like that Harvard's doing, right? Isn't Harvard doing homeschooling?
Virtual classes.
It's like $59,000 or something like that a year.
Yeah.
And they're saying they're not changing the price,
No,
right?
tuition is not going down.
Well, and the reason you're paying for the tuition is strictly for the degree, right? You're
Right.
paying that money for the degree, not the education. So it doesn't care if the class is in session or at home, right?
But isn't a good chunk of the tuition you pay also go to room and board?
I don't know.
I believe it does. Yeah. So like they're paying for room and board and not being able to do that.
But Harvard's like, you're not paying for any of that, actually. All you're paying for is that piece of paper at the end that said Harvard says you're okay.
It means a lot, too. Don't discredit that piece of paper. It'll take you places for sure.
I think the Harvard one will.
the Harvard one will.
Harvard one will, yeah. Almost all the other ones, though, outside of the Ivy League, won't really do a damn thing.
Nope.
Is what I've learned. West Virginia University degree, though, I don't have. But if I did, that's some bitch go right up there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, one day.
Never. Hopefully.
Maybe.
Hopefully this all works out and I don't have to go back.
Honorary doctor.
I was going to say, maybe they just give you an honorary doctorate.
Bingo.
Hey, I'll donate a couple, what do you guys need, like a video game thing?
Some
Get a little
masks.
E-team.
console?
We'll get a little, give me an E-team.
Cruising World.
Cruising the World. Now I'm a player. Hey, I am a player on Cruising the World. What a stupid life. 20 minutes after the hour, we got to get to our first break here for radio. This morning, big AFL game. I'll tell you what, the Geelong Cats looked like they were out of it early.
We did.
We DVR'd it, caught up to it. I wanted to sleep in a little bit. I'm sorry, Australia. 5:50 a.m. is just something I can't do on a daily basis, which is why Mike Golick, for 21 years, is so impressive. He had to change his entire life.
Yeah.
He has to go to bed like 8 o'clock at night, watch all those night games, everything like that in the morning. 2 decades. How's he going to come back out of that on the other side? I'll be intrigued to see his life now. You know how Letterman became that big. Like, what has Golick wanted to do for the last 21 years?
A lot of Goff.
Loves golf.
Loves golfing.
That's Philadelphia for golf. 21 minutes after the hour, we're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Since 5:30 a.m. right now. Had incredible meetings though with the Memphis coaches and the Navy offensive coordinator. Got to record a podcast too. I mean, we got nothing but time. Nice dinner for Hasselbeck's birthday. This is my fault. I might be sleeping in the truck. It never ends, dude. I honestly don't know how it happens. You have a room?
Yeah, it's a big room.
You have a good room? It's nice. Take care of the boys. You know what I mean? I'll sleep on the street out here. I'll go busking with a guitar like I'm the next fucking Elvis. You know what I mean? I'll earn my way. This does seem to always happen. Are these couches available? Packed on a pillow too. I'm gonna need it because I'm gonna be sleeping on a fucking bench. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and brush my teeth.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
No big deal. Just walking the streets of Memphis with my sack here and my pillow. Walking in Memphis with no room to sleep in tonight. Walking in Memphis. Right now I can fall asleep, but I fight. Walking in Memphis. Instagram models posing on stairs. Walking in Memphis. A couple methods right over there. My last hotel didn't have a room for me.
Baby, we have a room for you. Come on.
Hold up.
Do they set up a room for you already?
I found you, baby. I got you. I got you. I got you today.
Appreciate that. Today is hour 14.
Y'all take care of Patrick, all right?
Boys, huh? King of the castle. Look, if you're the pool. All right, so now I gotta go to a production dinner and then record a podcast. Let's go ahead and do this. It's going, dude. I mean, honestly, today's tomorrow. Tomorrow was yesterday. You know, it just all kind of runs together. It's kind of a long walk. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a palace.
It's got 2 bathrooms. We're going all night long. Yeah, we're talking sports. Yeah, we want more and more. And yeah, COVID-19 is here to kick you in the dick. Don't know if I want to say that. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. 25 minutes after the hour here. We have Andrew Brandt, Business of Sport podcast host, former Green Bay Packer executive, and current vice president of Vayner Sports, I believe, which is a sports agency. He'll be joining us in about 14 minutes. A lot to talk about when it comes to the business of sport when you're talking NFL coming back, the MLS coming back last night. Does that do anything about the NFL coming back? Because the next couple weeks, the NFL and the NFLPA are about to go to fisticuffs. It is about to get ugly. It's what happens when the NFL is talked about. It's bigger. The MLB and the MLBPA, think about that. This is not a bash at the MLB or the MLBPA or the sport of baseball, although it is going to sound like it. Baseball is what? Like the least important sport we have basically out of the four major sports? And did you see how big those fireworks got and the amount of attention got? Now think about what's going to happen when the NFL and the NFLPA go through basically what seems to be almost the same thing when you're talking they want 35% of the money go to escrow. The NFL has pitched the NFL players because it's like, hey, we'll give you this money back, but we have to see what's going on. We'd like to hold on some more cash for operating funds and whatever they're thinking about doing. And then you got the players coming out and saying, go to hell. And Drew Rosenhaus, who's one of the most noted agents in NFL history, is like, the players should be getting paid more for doing this. I mean, it is going to get ugly. Hopefully not. Right? Hopefully they handle it like the NHL and the NHLPA behind closed doors and just kind of return to play so that everybody that's sitting at home who's unemployed, who's been through this quarantine, who's maybe not happy. I mean, the world is in a very weird place. So to hear billionaires and perceived millionaires, although less than half, maybe less than a third, you get it, less than a third, probably, maybe less than a quarter of NFL athletes are millionaires, even though the perceived thing is billionaires versus millionaires. Nobody wants to hear them battle and bicker about money, about all that. But that's going to happen, and it's going to get ugly in the next couple weeks. And I've told the boys here, you have to remind me in a couple weeks when this thing gets ugly, not to be a victim of the moment, and remember that there will be a season, because there's going to come times here in the next couple weeks where it is going to look very gloomy and doomy. Just want to let that be.
I mean, it looks gloomy and doomy for basically all sports except for the NHL, and that seems like they're all going to come back and play.
Well, it looked gloomy and doomy except for the NHL. You're 100% right.
Does it look gloomy and doomy, or not gloomy and doomy rather, for the NHL because they don't have as many players coming out and kind of going against it and everything they have going on?
NHL paychecks were already paid out to the players before the quarantine happened. So a big conversation. Now, safety, obviously, big deal, right? I mean, let's not get crazy and undersell health concerns. But for the NHL, business-wise, was handled before the season, and then they gave bonuses that weren't due for a while up front, and then they renegotiated extended a CBA. So, I mean, the NHL and the NHLPA business side, which is normally terrible, didn't have as much to deal with as would the MLB, who didn't even have their season started, can't have fans, and don't have that. So I think the business is going to be a problem, and that is that's going to be an issue with the NFL and NFLPA. The more and more I think about it, like there's going to be, because I'm trying to figure out how you keep it behind closed doors with the NFL. You can't.
Never has.
The reason why the NHL was able to keep it behind closed doors is because they don't have that great of a relationship probably with a lot of the media people. And the media people that they have relationships with care so deeply about the sport that they don't want to ruin the sport by putting that stuff out there. And the players probably are like, hey, we are not in the position here to try to bury this. Let's handle it behind closed doors. With the NFL, media members are plugged into basically every single GM, every single player, every single agent. I mean, it's only a matter of time before that information starts trickling out. And Roger Goodell can write out memos and stuff that say, we believe, as does the executive committee, that any questions you have or problems that you think could arise, those can be dealt directly with us and not publicly. And if they are publicly, fines and punishment could fall or follow it, like he basically said with the draft and with the schedule release and everything like that. So I don't know how they keep it inside, and it's going to get ugly in the next couple of weeks. And we'll talk to Andrew Brandt all about that.
Also with NHL players, and this is like a no offense, but most of them, they're not big personality guys. They're like more like keep their head down and do what they're told
the
versus
entire hockey culture is use cliches and say as little as possible.
Yeah. Hey, boys. Hey, you got sticky mitts there, boys.
Hey, get the cement out of your skates, boys.
Pal. Hey, pal. All right, let's act like the NFL is going to come back.
Yeah,
because I think it is.
It is.
There is going to be days in the next couple of weeks that we all need to remember that although it does seem quite contentious They will be back.
Yep.
Well, and it's nice to hear too, like Harbaugh say what he said, especially after him kind of, I don't know, he didn't downgrade the season, but he definitely didn't seem confident before.
Jim Harbaugh, head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. COVID is a part of our society. No, Jim Harbaugh,
Michigan.
John Harbaugh, Ravens.
Slip of the tongue.
No, I honestly, I just, I should have just said Coach Harbaugh there and let others figure it out. COVID is a part of our society. It wasn't caused by football or caused by sports. There's no expert view right now that I'm aware of that sports is going to make that worse. Hey,
Argue that.
tell you what, get the scientists to go ahead and talk about that. Coach Harbaugh, see what I did there? Coach Harbaugh is just like, listen, COVID's a part of our society, boys. Don't know how to tell you. Now, I do believe with that standpoint. I do believe that, listen, I think COVID's going to be around maybe for, I'm not saying it, ever.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like when did the flu hit humans? 1919 or whatever it was with the Spanish influenza.
There was one then, yeah.
That one, I don't know if
Still
that was
here.
the first flu though. That thing is still is not the first flu.
No, I mean, flu's been around for ages and ages.
Well, at some point though, the flu came into society,
Yes.
and then even with you can get the vaccine and everything, and the flu's still there. So it's like, is COVID-19 going to be like that? We're not doctors here, but it does feel like that's potentially what's going to happen. And Jim Harbaugh is like, hey, listen, I drink milk and wear khakis, and this is what I think is going to happen. And I tend to agree with the first sentence. That other sentence, sports making it worse, and people gathering, I believe it doesn't matter if it's sports or in real life. Not that sports aren't real. They aren't, though. Yeah, so nobody can really get offended by that. But the whole people gathering seems to be an issue is what they say. But then if you don't have none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense.
Fun fact, influenza pandemics have been reported for at least 500 years.
Bingo.
There we go.
Think about when they first came through, by the way. That was probably a whoa. They're pooping and puking. Same damn time. Coming out of two damn holes at the same damn time. At the same damn time. At the same damn time. They probably lock those people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think those people were lasting too long.
Yeah, lock those people. I don't think they
modern medicine wasn't modern medicine.
Well said.
Yeah, I don't,
Go chew on some grass.
Oh, you think that's probably it.
That might work.
find a hole.
Take this cocaine.
Hey, that village a couple doors down there, like 7 miles, I've heard they have some leaves that potentially calm the stomach a little bit. So you can walk over there while you're pooping and puking. But that was probably quite an alarm. And there's no way they thought that was going to be forever.
No.
They probably thought that was going to disappear.
I figure they just fed those people arrows, though. I don't think they were sending them to other villages. They were just probably take them out.
Fire, man. Cleanses everything.
Fire.
All right. Before we get to Andrew Brandt here in 8 minutes, 50 NFL executives and personnel were polled by ESPN for their top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. So whenever it says 50 NFL executives, coaches, and scouts to rank top 10 QBs for 2020, how many NFL executives, how many NFL coaches, and how many bottom tier ass scouts were asked? We don't know, okay? Because there's a scout could be literally anything in the NFL. That's like if you're trying to get in the front office world, a scout is how you get in there. You're like, you're this type of scout, regional scout, this type of scout. And some of those scouts are treated very poorly, I'd assume, and don't get a lot of real work. But let's assume that this is a legit list of people who have good football minds. All right. And I'm not knocking scouts. Scouts are a vital piece of information, but scouts that are listening to this know that there are some scouts that are literally just there because they know somebody and this is a job that they have to have. Now, maybe in 10 years they'll be good, but it's just, the game. So you don't know who was asked this question, but the top 10 quarterbacks that they came out with, I think, is a pretty solid list. And I'll tell you what, makes Gutekunst look even dumber. The 50 NFL executives that were polled by ESPN had Patrick Mahomes at number 1. That's the $500 million quarterback. I think everybody on earth has agreed with that. What he has been able to accomplish, next level. The throws he makes, he extends plays. He seems to be like the perfect guy off the field as well. It makes no sense that Patrick Mahomes was created, and the fact that he is going to dominate the NFL for the next, 10 years with Andy Reid's big, beautiful mind and Veach over there building the roster. Unless they run into cap problems, Patrick Mahomes, the NFL is grateful, thankful, and thanking God every single day that Patrick Mahomes has come into their league. Number 2, Russell Wilson, also young, will play for a long time. Seattle Seahawks had the Legion of Boom, which was leading them to a lot of wins. They win a Super Bowl, go to another Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden the contract to Russell Wilson happens. Everybody gets upset. See you later. Got to get out of here. Earl Thomas is flipping off Pete Carroll, but Russell Wilson has maintained the course. The same guy, willed them to a lot of victories. And if they get Antonio Brown, which is possible, I'll be excited to see what Russell Wilson becomes. And at number 3, an older man. The oldest man at this level, obviously, Aaron Rodgers. 50 NFL executives, coaches, and scouts said, out of the top 10, I put Aaron Rodgers probably number 3 overall, even though he's 36 years old. Even though they drafted his replacement already, we think he's number 3 in the world at what he does. It would be crazy if he had a team around him like Patrick Mahomes has, like Russell Wilson has. And there's another guy, number 4, Deshaun Watson. And nobody knows what his ceiling is at this point. He was magical last year. He was able to make some plays, win some games. That spin move out of a tackle, deep ball that he threw was just absolutely insane. I think his upside is next level. And you got to remember, Dabo Swinney down at Clemson said, if you don't draft Deshaun Watson, you don't draft Michael Jordan. What are you doing? Will Billy O'Stooge ruin his career? Deshaun Watson lost his number 1 wide receiver, which a lot of people, I think, if they did one of these lists, would put him in the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL. Get him the hell out of town for a bag of balls. What would Deshaun Watson be able to do next year? We will find out. Drew Brees, number 5, very interesting. I thought at his age, maybe, that people would kind of turn their back on him, but Sean Payton and Drew Brees have been quite a pairing. They get a lot of things done. Will Drew Brees' arm make it an entire season? Remember, last year had a 5-game break, and the arm still had a little pop at the end of it. The year before that, end of the season, it seemed like the ball was breaking up a little bit. How will Drew Brees correct that? Number 6, Lamar Jackson, a man who's already won an MVP. He wins the Super Bowl. Look out for another monster deal. Will Lamar Jackson be able to repeat what he did last year, which was make people look absolutely stupid? Number 7, Tom Brady finally has weapons too. That's good. Who knows what he's going to do? Number 7 quarterback in the NFL at the age of 42? 43, and now he has a receiver core that is fit for a king down there in Tampa with Bruce Arians and Clyde Christensen, that offense that has been around a long time. Carson Wentz at 8, he willed the Eagles to win some games last year, put the team on his back when everybody was hurt. He has not won a Super Bowl, though. Has a Super Bowl ring, has not won a Super Bowl, gets hurt on regular basis because he is young, not his fault. I think he is a potential Clydesdale going forward, by the way. Big dude, driven guy, understands that everybody in Philadelphia is like, well, you got to win one for us since Nick Foles does. I think his future is very bright. Number 9, Dak Prescott. Will he sign a franchise tag? Only has a few days to do so, less than a week. And number 10, the Detroit Lions with a broken frickin' back, Matthew Stafford.
Here we go.
I love that. I like the Stafford's getting a little bit of love there. That's a good list. I like that list. Who's left off there? Ben Roethlisberger's giving no love. Cam Newton's giving no love. Matt Ryan's giving no love. Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater,
Garoppolo,
Nick Foles. Mitchell Trubisky's not left off that list.
No. He was, yeah.
No, well, he was left, yeah. But
Fitzmagic.
It wasn't like a, whoa, what? You know?
No.
Yeah. I said it.
Tannehill.
Yeah, I think they got it right.
Yeah, they got it right.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Gutekunst, though, because I assume Rodgers would probably be 1 or 2 if he wouldn't have ranked him like 30th or 35th.
38 minutes after the hour, we're going to get to another radio break. Andrew Brandt, former executive for the Green Bay Packers, who maybe voted in this thing. Did they say current? I don't know. I think it's a good list, though. And the fact that Breaker 19, Aaron Rodgers was on there at 3. That probably makes him feel very good. He's like, oh, so the rest of the league does know that I'm pretty good. Okay. Feels nice. Feels nice to be wanted and loved a little bit. I like Tom Brady in New England and Gutekunst with Aaron Rodgers in the Packers.
You know what they say, Pat. You got a top 10 quarterback. You got a good chance at the Super Bowl.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, sir.
Unless you're the Detroit Lions. We're back on the other side with Andrew Brandt. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Let me tell you a little story about these statistics. Troy Polamalu, okay? Fucking Troy Polamalu. So we had a fake for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a 100%er. We didn't even have a cancel the goddamn play because it was a 100%er. If we ever end up in this situation, inside the 7-yard line on the left hash, It is a 100%er that the C gap will be wide open and we will just part the C to the left. It'll be a touchdown. 100%er. We're playing in Pittsburgh, the city I grew up in. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I won the punt, pass, and kick national championship, AJ. National championship, AJ.
Congrats.
AJ, did you ever win the national championship, punt, pass, and kick?
I think I got 3rd or 4th out of 4 at the Nationals.
I'm proud of you, man. Anyways, so we're there in that stadium, okay? A lot of McAfee's in there. A lot of McAfee's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to score my first fucking touchdown, night game, Sunday Night Football, I believe it was, right here, touchdown. We get into that situation, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is really going to happen. We're like on the 6, on the left hash. It's 4th and goal now. Field goal team's jogging on. I'm like, well, fuck, it's about to, I'm ready. I am ready for this to happen. So I get out there. I get down. Vinny's like happy for me. Vinny's like very excited. He's like, let's fucking go. Like Vinny's excited for me at this moment. I'm like, here we go. So I make the call. I forget what it was. So I start saying it, right? And everybody's looking at me like, okay, bright eyes. Here we go. Let's get after it. Offensive linemen are dead ass tired. They do not want to be in the middle of a field goal anyways. So they're just like, all right, I don't give a fuck if you die here, but this should work. Let's get some points. And all of a sudden, I go through my cadence, I call it, I get down, and Troy Polamalu's fucking ass goes ahead for however long his career was at this point. I think it was like 9 years or 8 years at this point. Not a once has he ever gone to this side of the field over here to the left and covered, stood right in the C gap. Never. He lined up exactly where he had lined in film 100% of the time. And then as soon as I got to like the second cadence right before set, he just bounced his little ass right over to the C gap. And I like stopped everything I was doing and I literally just looked at him. And I gave him like a, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you there right now? And then I stood up and said, we are kicking it. We don't have it. We have to kick it. We are kicking this. And then I get down, and Vinatieri kicks it, and I jog off the field, and Chuck Pagano comes running up next to me. He's like, hey, good job. What you see? I said, what did I see? Polamalu just fucking went right into the goddamn C gap. What did I see? What did I see? And he goes, okay, sounds good. Good call then. And good call then. And then Vinatieri's like, hey, way to go, buddy. I'm like, way to go? Are we not going to talk about how big of a fucking asshole Troy Polamalu is for what just happened right there? So that's.
I saw the angel of death waiting for me in the C gap.
It's unbelievable. What, you thought I was going to run him over? No way. He's probably going to strip me and score a touchdown the other fucking. That's Polamalu, bro. That ain't just your backyard football with your son. These are professional fucking athletes. He'd probably jump over the lineman, pick me up, and run me into the other fucking end zone if he wanted to. That's what he would have done.
The hard-hitting safety of his generation, too. I mean, Ed Reed, great cover safety. I don't know that you would have feared him, but
Ed Reed, I would have feared Ed Reed. Yeah, if I saw Ed Reed in that C gap, absolutely. Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. I ain't doing shit to Ed Reed.
No, Ed Reed would have made the tackle. I'm saying that Polamalu would have shaved years off your life.
Oh, my God. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here Thursday, July 9th. Joining us now is the host of the Business of Sports Pod, former Packers front office member, columnist for MMQ. Is that Peter King's thing? Mm-hmm. And he's an executive at Vayner Sports Media. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Brandt. Andrew,
What's up, Pat?
Well, we can talk about the Monday morning quarterback thing, but I don't want to talk about that now. We got other things to talk about, especially with your big brain in the world that we're currently in. Let's get into it. The 35% escrow that got floated out in the media by Tom Pelissero, I do believe, from the NFL to the NFL players. I said that, boy, these next couple weeks are going to get contentious. This is going to seem like there's gloom and doom, whether it's talking the health and safeties of rolling back into an NFL season or just strictly the business side of this thing. The NFL and the NFLPA, I don't like to say this, but I think it's going to get ugly in the next couple weeks. Do you agree in this?
I agree, Pat. I was telling you this. Remember this? Remember I told you this like a month ago?
Yeah, you did. That's true. You did.
We're going to see the replay from baseball. Baseball was a two-part negotiation. One, health and safety, all the protocols. That was relatively the easy part. And then it gets to the money. And that was the hard part. And baseball never got a deal, as you know. They never got a deal. The commissioner imposed a 60-game season. Here we are in football. They're dealing with the health and safety. That's still not done. They're trying to deal with the protocols. D. Smith's frustrated that players are still working out while he's trying to negotiate these deals, while the NFLPA doc says don't have these workouts. And now they get to the money. And it came out from NFL media, their own source, that we're trying to get 35% escrow. Listen, what that means is we're taking 35% of your number. If you make $1 million, we're taking $350,000, and we'll give it back to you if all the revenues are the same. But if revenues are down 35%, you don't get any. If revenues are down 20%, you get 15% back. If revenues are down 25%, you get 10% back. This is a problem. We're supposedly like 2 weeks away from camp. That's not happening. They're not going to get this done.
There's no way. And now, granted, the MLB, they had an 11th hour like 10 different times, and they finally just imposed the thing, and it looked ugly. And the MLB, when it comes to people caring about, much lower than when it comes to the NFL. Do you think, and we talked to David Sampson, former president of the Marlins, and he just came right out and said, oh, yeah, we lie about things to the media all the time. Scumbag, just absolute scumbag. He actually said that. Like, do you think this 35% escrow thing, like what the MLB was doing, floating it out to see the response maybe, and then they're like, okay, maybe we don't do that? Is that kind of how this is going to go the next couple of weeks, you think? A lot of floating out concepts and ideas to see how it's being received, and then let's roll with it? Or how do you think this ever gets done? Like, what do you think? How do you think this process rolls out?
Yeah, I absolutely think that's a rollout, the float out. That happens a lot with the NFL. They float out things like they did that Rooney Rule where you get incentives for hiring an African American. That didn't go over well. They pulled it. They tabled it. It's not there anymore. Listen, I think that, but I think more importantly, Pat, it's an opening offer, right? It's an offer. This is going to be a negotiation. I said when they got this CBA done back in March, people thought, well, they're never going to negotiate again for 10 years. Well, here they are negotiating again.
And it was ugly. Hey, it was not a clean negotiation, too, just a couple months ago. It was 51-49, 51%, 49% by the NFLPA. There's still some players in that 49% that voted no that are going to remember that whenever this conversation happens. I mean, this is, I don't think many people are talking about it enough because it hasn't like hit us in the face yet. These next couple weeks are going to be a potential, but I'm trying to remember this, Andrew, and you might, I think you have a different view on this potentially. I think without a doubt there will be an NFL season. So I have to remember that whenever it's getting very, very ugly publicly, whenever these two sides are negotiating. I think there's going to be a season inevitably because just people being focused on getting a task done. I think college football has a problem, but the NFL, do you agree with that? Do you think inevitably there will be an NFL season?
I was very confident a few weeks ago.
Oh, no! Andrew!
No, I'm not saying no. I'm not answering no. But my confidence level is down. Let me just say something. I was very against the deal the NFLPA signed in March, and I was attacked. You know, people said, hey, he's trying to be the NFL executive director, NFLPA. And yes, I've been contacted by that in the past, but no, I wasn't trying to be that.
You should.
And people thought I had an agenda. So listen, they signed it, and you're right. It's a hell of a way to go into an 11-year deal when 49.5% of your populace doesn't like the deal. And I absolutely agree with you. There are hard feelings. And this BS about, well, the stars like J.J. Watt and Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, they're against it, but they're fine. They could have said the deal's fine, it doesn't affect us. But they're looking out for the big number of people. And to say that the stars are versus the rank and file, hey, There's not half the league is not stars or rank and file. So listen, there will be blood in this negotiation. They're not going to accept 35% haircut. How much is the league going to try to impose? So you got two issues here that are affecting my confidence. One is health and safety. Two is financial. Will they work it out at the last deadline, whatever that is? Probably. But then you got this whole public health issue, Pat. The social distancing is the opposite of football. I mean, there's going to be droplet exchange. There's going to be viral load when these players play football. And what happens if you got
Wait a
whole
minute,
position
Andrew?
group wiped out?
Let's rewind. I believe I've potentially had some viral load a couple times. What is viral load that you were referring to?
Whatever the doctors are talking about of transmission of the COVID disease.
Okay, loads.
And that is going to happen. And I think these leagues are trying to decide what's our acceptable number of cases that maybe don't go so well. Everyone says, well, young and healthy people aren't going to have bad outcomes. Maybe you're right. But there will be some bad outcomes.
Okay,
and
so do you think the Ivy League canceling their season sways anything? Maybe the players, I guess. Maybe this might empower the players even more to be like, this is not safe. Look, the smartest humans that we have, they're saying no to this. This is probably going to make it an even harder negotiation for the NFL when it's coming from the NFL players. They're like, look, the Ivy League's not even doing this. How can we do this? It is going to get nasty. How about the MLS coming back, though? Is that not the MLS coming back good news, you think, for football, or does that not even matter at all?
Listen, MLS, MLB, NHL, and basketball, all good news now, right? They're all going to start, I think. Are they going to finish? That's my question. Are they going to finish? Are they going to get these, like I said, these multiple transmissions where they decide we can't do this? And if they say we can't do this, does the NFL start? Think about this, Pat. MLB or NHL or NBA says, in August 12th, it's not working. We got to shut it down. It's not working. Does the NFL really start in that environment? I think that's going to be tough. I think that's going to be tough. I am not confident these 4 leagues starting soon finish.
Andrew,
at least one.
Andrew, I love talking to you because you got so much experience. But you brought me down there. You brought me down. You really did.
Trying not to be pessimistic but realistic. Listen, the chances are we're going to have everything.
Chances are.
If one of these leagues shut down and you're NFL commissioner and you see the MLB shutting down in August 12th, do you start?
Roger Goodell's a new Roger Goodell, too, by the way. He's eating M&Ms in the basement. He's coming out and kind of being a little bit – that's going to be very difficult. I'm just going to act like it's not going to happen. Let's put it out. Let's talk about something else that did happen. A 12-year, $500 million deal. You're an agent now. You're an executive at Vayner Sports. You were a front office member for the Green Bay Packers. You signed deals not like this, but maybe. Did you sign the Brett Favre deal?
Yep.
Okay, so you have signed deals like this in the past. A lot of people talking. Andy Reid came out in his best Tommy Bahama, he said, to talk about this. He said that the deal is actually structured so that they can take care of other players and build a team around Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick was selfless through this process while signing a $503 million deal, which, by the way, I want him to get $1 billion by this is all said and done. But what does setting up a deal for 12 years do that kind of maybe you can utilize the salary cap a little bit more so you don't get handcuffed by one big deal for the short term? Jeez, get it out.
People can't believe I'm saying this, and I've said it all week, and people are like, how could you say this about a $500 million deal? I think the Chiefs got the much better end of this deal. They've got the most precious asset in the NFL under contract for an NFL lifetime. When I heard 10 years, which is actually 12 years, I'm thinking, forget the number. I'm thinking there's got to be optionality in this deal. What do I mean by optionality? He can get out like NBA players, opt out after 3, 4, 5 years. Nope, none of that. He can have the market adjust if all these quarterbacks pass him by in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, which they will. And nope, not in that either. Or he can get some kind of cap percentage. It adjusts every year. Nope, that's not in it either. It's just a lot of money, and he's not guaranteed, and he's under contract, and he'll never hit free agency or even get close to it. Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, they're not doing 10-year deals. They're doing 3-4 year
Andrew,
deals.
a
where they can
half
get to
a
the
billion dollars, Andrew. I mean, you're signing a piece of paper for. Now, granted, Uncle Sam comes in there, and there's incentive base.
Listen, it's not Mike Trout, right? This is not guaranteed money. There are these options and rosters, and everyone can say, "Well, they're never going to cut Pat Mahomes," but who knows? Now the team has the Pat taking the risk. I know how much money it is, and by the way, that's with all the incentives, whatever it is, $400-something million. But over the next 3 years, Pat, he's making $63 million, same number as Teddy Bridgewater, less than a guy named Ryan Tannehill. So all these things are going through. What did he do this deal for right now? That's what I'm wondering.
Because it said $500 million, Andrew. If a piece of paper says now we have 1 week now. Let's pivot to another guy who has $31.9 million sitting on a piece of paper if he wants it. He's got 1 week to do it. And everybody assumed that Jerry and Dak, they won't get a deal done until the last week of the franchise tag because you don't really, desperation kind of causes deals to maybe get made in a much more efficient fashion and people to give up a little bit more. Do you think they extend that, they get an extension done before this franchise tag hits, or is Dak going to sign for $31.9 million, which, by the way, if I ever saw a piece of paper that came across, I'm much different than Dak. I'm not as talented as Dak, nowhere near that. But seeing a piece of paper that says $31.9 million and saying, no, I'm not signing it, that is a massive gut sack move that I respect and appreciate so much. But does it feel as if, in your eyes, they're going to get a long-term deal done before that franchise tag has to get signed next week?
No.
Me neither.
And I think the Chiefs deal is music to Jerry Jones' ears. He already has one of these deals. He did Tyron Smith like 8 or 9 years, but only 2 years guaranteed, and basically that's 7 years team options. He'd love a deal like that. But Dak Prescott's people aren't doing that. I mean, they're not going. You can throw out the $500 million, and that's what the media jumps on. I get it. It's exciting. It's a big number. But I did Brett Favre's deal for 10 years. We were thrilled. We had the best player in the league under contract for 10 years, no matter what goes on. And mark my words, the market will pass Pat Mahomes by. It will. If the cap is now 200 and in 5 years it's 400, what do you think top quarterbacks are making? They're making 50. They're making 60.
What year do you think Patrick Mahomes' people go try to renegotiate? 5, 6?
Yeah. What year do you think Pat Mahomes gets whispers from his buddies saying, why'd you sign so long?
Hey, Ryan Tannehill is making him out.
Hey, look at this kid. Look at this kid that came out in 2022 that's about to make more than you. These. I've been there. It's going to happen.
Let's talk about your Packers team.
By the way, Pat, was the most longest contract I ever signed with the Packers is a guy with his pictures over your shoulder. His name is A.J. Hawk.
How long?
A.J. Hawk was the 5th pick in the draft. We never picked that high, and that was before the CBA changed and all that. We had to do all these different escalators and things like that. A.J.'s contract was like 43 pages or something like that.
What? Chin. That's what A.J. does, though. A.J. plays no games, dude. Listen, you draft that jawline, you're in for it, a fight.
That dude, we got to get on together, the three of us. He came in to sign that contract. His agent said he'll be in there at 8 in the morning. I'm like, great. He comes in full on sweat. Like 8 in the morning, he's got the sweat. He's like dripping on me. Oh, yeah, I had to get a workout in. Okay. All right, AJ, you got it.
He's an absolute meathead, that guy. He's an absolute meathead. Go ahead, Diggs. We only got like a minute.
I had a question about Mahomes' contract. It says he gets $477 million in guarantee mechanisms. What is guarantee mechanisms?
Yeah, that's a word for not real guarantees.
Jeez, Andrew, you are a bummer today, Andrew. Okay?
I mean, he gets it if he's on the roster. I know everyone's going to say he's going to be on the roster, but if he's on the roster at this time next year, it's guaranteed. If he's on the roster at this time next year, it's guaranteed. I've been around the business 25 years. I've never heard guarantee mechanisms. Basically, it's future roster bonuses.
Well, Andrew, we have to get back to our radio show here, so we have to send you out. I saw Peyton Manning get cut. Anything could happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Business and Sports Podcast host, Andrew Brandt. Thank you, Andrew. Cheers, man.
Soon.
Good morning, beautiful people. It is Thursday, July 9th. Hour 2 kicks off in fantastic actually pretty negative fashion. Just got done with a conversation with Andrew Brandt, former Packers executive, current Vayner Sports, which is a sports agency executive, and Business of Sports podcast. Hey, I just said that. You get it. He is a guy who knows basically the ins and outs of the business of the NFL and the business of sports. And he told us like a month ago, whenever the MLB and the MLBPA were getting into it, he was like, you think this is bad? Just wait until the NFL and the NFLPA get going. And I was like, well, that's a month out. We'll have it figured out by then. And what we're learning here as these months pass by, what we thought was initially going to potentially be cured in a 2-week span. Remember, that was originally what it was going to be, 2 weeks. Now we're months into this thing, and it seems like still nobody has a clue what is the right move to do. And now that the NFL and the NFLPA are a couple weeks away from training camp supposed to happen, they are going to go to battle publicly. He said there's going to be some bloodshed, is what he said. And inevitably, he thinks there's a chance the deal gets done in 2 weeks. But he was a gloom and doom in that entire thing. And to be honest, it seems like he's potentially speaking the truth about this whole thing. I don't know how you get that NFLPA in the NFL to come to a conclusion on what's a healthy way to get back to work, and also how do we do this financially if there's going to be no fans in the stands, no daily concessions or game day concessions or anything like that. But the TV rights deal is coming up, so maybe that'll be able to offset the cash, but this is going to get ugly. I mean, it's going to get very public because the NFL is such a large sport with so many deep connections to the media, whether it's agents knowing each other and the NFL being the most powerful sport in America, or powerful league in America. It's going to get ugly, and who knows if this thing's going to get done. Remember, just a few months ago, the new CBA was passed by the NFLPA and the NFL with a vote from the players, 51% to 49%. It's actually like 50.8% to 49.2%. That means there's still some players who are not happy about the current deal that they just signed for the next 10 years. I would assume that their voices are going to be heard much louder for what's going on right now. This is going to be an ugly 2 weeks for the NFL. And Andrew Brandt, who normally is, I love talking to him because he's a wealth of knowledge. The guy knows everything about everything, it feels like. It feels like he said to us, there ain't no shot that's happening, bub. And I am bummed about it.
Hey, cool glasses.
Thank you.
But him explaining the league trying to take the 35% and putting in escrow and being like, yeah, if we don't lose 35% of our revenue, which if they don't have fans, he's already told us like the fans, tickets and stuff like that makes up like 20-25%. So you're basically asking the players to take a 20 to 25% pay cut to play the entire exact amount of games. That just doesn't seem like it's
not going to happen. And remember, the players are still in fight mode, right?
Yeah.
Just got done with the deal, signed a deal. Maybe they let up a little bit, but there's still some heart, probably some emotional feelings about how the deal was done and finished and what was offered, what wasn't offered, what was taken off the table. And now the NFL is floating proposals out to the public to see how people take it. This is going to be a battle, man. It is going to be a battle. But guess what? The MLS is back.
Yeah! And if it does somehow make it past this stage, we have to hope that every other sports league has absolutely no hiccups until the start of the NFL.
Yeah, because all these sports that are currently back, which is the MLB, which is doing some spring training practice, which we just saw potentially the greatest catch in the history of baseball. Connor, it really caught your attention. Who was that? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Lions. Tigers guy. Yeah.
Tigers guy, center fielder, over the shoulder, diving catch. While he hits the ground, ball pops out of glove, snags it with other hand.
Edelman, before the ball hit the ground, snagged it.
It was in practice with no humans there and did not matter at all. So he was just kind of flexing for everybody that was currently there. Like, hey, this is what I got coming out of quarantine. But that was maybe the greatest baseball catch I've ever seen. Potentially the greatest baseball catch I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it meant nothing. So it's not really like comparable to any of the big moments where they actually mean something. But the talent there is next level. But if the MLB has a hiccup, or the MLS has a hiccup, or the NHL has a hiccup, then obviously a lot of questions are going to be directed at Roger Goodell. And I just think Roger Goodell, although he is new Roger Goodell, sitting down in his basement with his M&Ms and listening to his players, the players of the league a little bit more, and all that, he's a new Roger Goodell, new commish, our commish. I still think there's a chance that he and the NFL doctor go, we're smarter than everybody else. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
See you later. Keep it moving. You saw what Dana White did? Just expect us to do that times 10 because we got 10 more people to be involved on each team. I think that's potentially what happens.
And the NFL's looking at the AFL to see how their league's going, and it's been going pretty well.
And the AFL this morning had another game, and it looked like the Geelong Cats, Diggs' team, were down and out early, and then they scored 8 straight to completely pillage and slaughter the Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, the Brisbane Lions were up 32-22 at half, and then were outscored 45-1 in the third quarter.
That's what you call 28-3 type stuff.
Yes.
Although it's middle of the season, it's not the grand final. That is something that'll sit with the Brisbane Lions team and their fan base for a long, long time. Ty, I know you're all in on these Lions. Is it time to quit on them because they quit on the game this morning?
No, absolutely not.
Nah, they quit, Ty.
First defeat we've had since the restart. Listen, Kluggs banged his shoulder up a little bit. All right, so we need Kluggs to get back healthy. We got Skip back. Dane Zorko's back in the lineup. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we respond next week.
I watch in the morning, okay, but I DVR it now. I was waking up because I want to see the beginning of that game. Beginning of the game, I thought I was dancing on Diggs' grave. By the way,
I went to sleep.
I was
went back to
dancing.
sleep.
I was dancing on Diggs' grave while I was watching the DVR while I was getting ready. I was like, Diggs is dead. Geelong Cats are dead. And then bang, all of a sudden, the second half happens, and the Brisbane Lions just go ahead and mail it in and say no problem here. Sport is still electric to watch.
Yeah, it is.
You might have no clue who's on the field. You might have no clue who's the teams are. You might have no clue what the rules are. Still just absolutely majestic to watch that thing. It's captivating, mesmerizing, if you will. A sport that I knew nothing about just a few months ago. Now I'm all in. Collingwood Magpies play tomorrow morning, 5:50 a.m. Let's hope they get off the schneid because I don't want to have to change this ball out.
No. The first half was kind of expected, though, because Gaz and Sells were coming off their 350th and 300th match. So it was a little bit of like a, hey, we're out here. I mean, that was a huge
You guys
game.
had a steel side bottom type night, you think? It's come out a little bit of a celebration hangover.
Probably.
Steel side bottom, Collingwood Magpies vice captain was found half naked, whatever that means, drunk, and was suspended 4 games. That's why that's my team currently. Mm-hmm. But why make it as a Magpie supporter until the end of steel side bottom suspension? TBD. Don't think I'll pick another team. I might just become a fan of the league. Play hard, guys.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Are you going to have
play
the
hard.
shields?
Hey, blokes, play hard out there. Go ahead, lads. Play hard out there.
Have the Rob Lowe AFL hat?
Yeah, just AFL hat, Rob Lowe. That's what I'll do. I feel like when you get tied to a team, and then all of a sudden you know nothing about it, then you start learning about it quickly, and then you start seeing them perform terribly, and then you see still sidebar, and you're like, okay, that kind of reinvigorates my fanhood.
Yeah.
They got a guy that's just a savage like that. But then if they just continue to stink, it's like, well, I like this sport. I don't want to hate this sport. I would like to have a good time. So I think I'm just going to cheer, go AFL. Now, granted, I'm still on the Magpies. Hey, still on the wagon there for the Magpies. Still got off the wagon a little bit. That was probably a problem. But what's that?
Doesn't sound like it. And I love that the GWS Giants are the ones that put the doubt in your head.
Well, you guys stink so bad.
2 straight wins just climbing that ladder. Rung by damn rung.
I haven't even heard the Magpie celebration song. How about that?
Oh, no.
That's how bad it's been. I don't even know that their big song at the end. I don't even know. What would you do when the Collingwood crew comes for you? What would you do? What would Collingwood do when the crew comes for you? Hey! That's probably their song.
That's a good one.
Never heard it before.
I think it is.
I hope they don't stink anymore, though. That'd be great if they just
No, they don't. They got Coxilla. He's coming back. He's going to be full strength in a week. He's going to be unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, I've been taking a lot of heat for Coxilla's performance. I want to let Coxilla, hey, the sun is brightest after the darkest dawn, fella. You got hurt, you had quarantine, you're 6'7". Let the big lumbering fella kind of get back into fitness. We can't wait to watch the AFL this weekend. It'll be DVR'd. Probably watch highlights, but boy, the timing is interesting. Sport's still captivating. Let's get to some breaking news, shall we? Tiger Woods tweets that he will be in a tournament next week. I believe it's the Memorial Golf Tournament. Tiger Woods is back. He tweeted, I'm looking forward to playing in the Memorial Golf next week. I've missed going out and competing with the guys and can't wait to get back out there. If you do recall, if you jog back in the old memory bank, Tiger Woods was maybe playing his best golf he has ever played when he and Peyton Manning beat the hell out of Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. Every single fairway. They're like, well, that's his course. You still got to put the ball. He was putting the ball exactly where he wanted to put the ball. He looked like the Tiger of old. Plus, he got some wins last year. He's got tiny little legs, which I never would have expected watching him golf in shorts for the first time during that match, too. But damn, it looked like Tiger Woods was all the way back, and I can't wait to see him go out there and dominate. I don't know what his odds are for victory. I believe Brooks Koepka is also coming back next week, so this could be a good tournament next week.
I believe he has won the Memorial 5 times, so it's a tournament he enjoys.
Yeah, it's of course it's set up for Tiger Woods' strengths, which is it's big and there's holes on it. Tiger Woods is back.
Well said.
Thank you. I mean, that's all you need to know. Is there holes on the course? Yeah, Tiger Woods will find them.
Oh, it's a golf course?
Tiger Woods will find them. I'm so pumped he's back. He's good for golf.
Yes.
He's also going to take on the meathead, the man who put on 75 pounds, who allegedly drinks 9 protein shakes a day, went from number 34 in the tour in driving distance to number 1 through 1 quarantine. The super nerd, Bryson DeChambeau, is on a terror right now. And the rest of the PGA has to look out for it. What do you do when you got something on terror? You bring a tiger in to slay that thing. Yeah. The bigger the piece of meat, by the way, the more hungry the tiger gets.
Yeah.
That's insane there. Any other sport, by the way, the entire world would be questioning what happened here. You know? Everybody on earth would be like, so you're saying he drank protein shakes and this is what happened? He all of a sudden his swing speed got faster and his ball connection got better and he put on 40 pounds just from protein shakes and working out? That seems to be a bit suspicious, but not in golf. Golf's a gentleman's game. This guy would call his own penalty if he put his club down and stand behind there. Yeah. That is what golf is. So you just assume that that's not happening. But what a come up here for DeChambeau. He is slaughtering the golf ball, and he looks like he is not slowing down anytime soon. Will Tiger come down and slay the meathead? That is what people. Tiger, meathead, Memorial Golf Tournament. Tiger's backyard basically winning 5 times. Who comes out alive? Nobody knows.
Hell of a promo.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they'll use that because I just basically alluded to the guy using steroids at this point. I'm not the only one, by the way. There's been some other people, I guess, who
I think that's the natural train of thought.
If you're in sports. I mean, we talked to David Sampson, Marlins president or whatever, and this is 2 shout-outs to David Sampson, by the way, which he'll hear that. He'll come. Yeah. By the way, Electric Factory.
Oh, yeah.
David Sampson. Absolutely. President of the Marlins. And I asked him about that steroid era, and I asked Euclid and Sean Casey about that steroid era, and they said that they think it got blown out of control. Like, not everybody was on it as everybody expected, but you would see a guy come back in the offseason, he'd be 30 pounds heavier with muscle and hitting the ball better. And they're like, oh, so you had quite an offseason, it seems like. DeChambeau literally just did that exact same thing. I assume the entire baseball community is like, oh, that guy just did a Mark McGwire right there. Look at that guy, little Sammy Sosa there hitting bombs. By the way, much more interesting golf when somebody's hitting at 400 yards. He's getting lower scores. He's probably going to make a lot of money. All the benefits to potentially do that are there for Bryson DeChambeau. But golf is a gentleman's game. He doesn't do that. He didn't do that. He had 9 protein shakes.
Class.
He would not do that.
Could be long gone summer 2.0. I mean, we don't know. Tiger might come back and hit the ball 450 yards.
I just don't think he'll be able to do that with those tiny little calves that he has. He's got Evan Foxy-like calves. I'm not 100% sure at this age he'll be able to do that. But his ball control right now is like it was back in the day.
He's hitting fairways. That's all you need to know.
If he hits fairways,
he's the best iron player of all time, obviously.
Because Tiger, legitimately, even when he was good, didn't hit fairways. He was like a scrambler almost, which was very
best scrambler of all time.
Which I think is what made people enjoy him even more because he looked like. Now, granted, he was like 100 yards further than the normal golfer, but when you go golfer and you spray it into the trees or it goes up and it does, and you still bring the driver out, by the way, you don't get scared and go to, an iron or a 3-wood or something like that. If you grew up on a golf course.
Hybrid even.
And do stuff like that. He didn't get scared of that driver. He still brought it out and that ball went everywhere. He was able to do it. Right now, it feels like he is shaping his shots again. I remember when that little golf tracker thing was invented. Watching Tiger's ball on that thing, whenever he hit a good one and then he did the club twirl, the driver twirl, pick up before it even won. It was amazing. And then you see those other ones that were like, gone, ball's gone. If he's controlling his shot and that golf ball tracker thingy is going right down the middle like it was for that match too, look out, meathead. It doesn't matter how many protein shakes you're drinking. You got a tiger on your ass and he's coming hard.
Also, if he putts the way he did, he may go 40 under this, I mean, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
So we all think Tiger Woods win next week?
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Or Ricky Fowler.
Or Ricky.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Ricky Fowler. Didn't come back on the show.
I didn't win.
But he didn't blow us off twice like Kenny the Jet Smith, who we still hate.
He's the worst.
We still hate Kenny the Jet.
Lenny the Jet.
I've come around on Mike Wilpon. Okay. Dan Masiano.
Yep.
Came around on them. Kenny the Jet is currently a little bit problematic.
I can't believe you came around on Mike Goblick. I hate that guy still.
Yeah, well, Mike Goblick is a guy who did 21 years in morning radio, okay? That guy sacrificed his entire life for the entertainment of sports fans.
Time heals all wounds.
Time does heal all wounds. And in that particular case, he was a guy who played a lot of football, knew a lot of football. He can bash punters if he wants. I didn't think he was right because I was sticking up for my friend who was getting a lot of, heat, and he'd been cut 7 times, and he doesn't have a lot of, so Griff Whalen being the brunt of that whole thing, I want to let people know, Griff wasn't even in practice that way. Griff was now granted, should he have snapped it? No, but let's not just blame Griff here. This was a complete team miscommunication cluster truck, and then all of a sudden, because Chuck and Grigson were currently in a battle for who gets the extension. The media people who are on each side kind of went for it, and then I kind of got a shot out of that thing. And believe I hated the guy. I hated the guy.
Still do.
No,
I
don't.
still do.
No, you shouldn't though. You shouldn't though. You should respect what he has done for 21 years. I think.
I respect. Oh, absolutely, I respect it. I grew up with Mike, but Goblik was never the guy I liked.
See, you're wrong there. I think you're wrong there.
Grow up.
I do not want anybody to think. Cut back to Connor. That guy's opinions reflect that of his employer or his peers.
Oh, of course not.
Well, he just took a pretty big swipe at old Michael 2 days after he retired.
Respect his work. Loved everything he did.
Sweetheart
Nice
at the Super Bowl when we met him.
Very, very nice to us.
Yeah.
And that's why I got past the feeling that I had where he took a shot at me or whatever. I got past that because he was so nice. And then you look at his overall work, you're like, this guy committed over 2 decades to entertaining sports fans. And you're just an Ingrid back there.
You know what? Yeah. You know what?
You're
right.
classic Ingrid.
You're right.
Ingrid.
I very much appreciate what he's done for morning radio.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look at that.
Hey.
Thank you guys for opening my eyes because these cool glasses are so cool. Sometimes they just close.
Those are cool glasses.
You know what? Your glasses are cool.
And with your glasses, you can read between the lines. And I'm happy you didn't do that in this particular case. You just chose to learn a little bit.
Reading between the lines, baby. Right here.
That looks like something else.
Yeah.
Sideways on your face.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
it does.
Probably can't do that.
Reading between the lines, boys.
15 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. Ariel Helwani will be joining us.
Big fight show.
Is he in Dobby?
Big fight show, aren't we?
Yeah, huge.
Big human fighting show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if he's over there and if he was invited or not.
probably not.
Because we will ask him and talk to him about a little bit of a run-in with Dana White on the internet that is now coming that Ariel was right and Dana still saw him down. By the way, big fan of that move.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm Dana White, what he did with John Oliver with the UFC, raising money and going after Ariel and stuff I like the way Dana White operates. Okay, he's Vince McMahon. He's a very, I don't want to say strong-headed, but he's very, his convictions are a strong one. He's going to make something happen. And I like that he'll mix it up. He wanted to fight Dan Le Batard.
Yeah.
We like Dan Le Batard here, but the fact that a commissioner of a league wanted to fight somebody in the media, hey, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. We'll talk to Ariel about it. 16 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. We'll see you on the other side. This is Kevin Euclid's beer called Loma Brewing Company.
Delicious.
So good.
Boys said it was very good. I've not had it. As you can
like
see, I am in a fit. I feel like I am potentially in the best shape I've been in maybe 10 years.
Uh-oh.
Yesterday, wedding tasting was a problem,
You'll have that.
but I had one day.
Yeah, one day.
Cheat day.
Corn dogs, though. Corn dogs, Jackie.
Mini?
Corn dogs, Jackie.
Mini?
Oh, you should see what they did.
For all these people.
2 corn dogs, one.
No!
Mini corn dogs on a corn dog
On a
stick.
skewer?
So it takes away what the one flaw of a corn dog is when you get it down and you got to stab yourself in the throat to get the rest of it, or you got to push it up. Mini corn dogs on skewer.
I'm dead.
So it's just like little corn dog bites.
Like a kebab.
It was genius. It was genius.
Oh, a kebab?
I told the executive chef, you should think about going to market with these. Yeah. Maybe we take these Shark Tank. Let's figure that out. I'd love to be a spokesperson for your little mini full-length corn dog thing.
Don't I know a guy?
Mark Cuban? We only talked once. And I pitched a business to him and he hung up on us. Bad idea, by the way. Because the valuation of the company just went up, by the way. Mark, I tried to get you in there before the FanDuel deal got done. I knew that FanDuel deal was going to happen. That FanDuel deal gets done, the valuation of the company goes up quite a bit, by the way. Yodely. Could still get in, by the way. I think we give up 0.5% of the company for $200 million. Isn't that what people do at Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Just coming in?
I mean, that's the evaluation.
Your valuation is absurd. Well, make me an offer then. I would need 75% of your company for that. That's always what happens in there. Valuation's absurd. Then they battle. Did you do any numbers? Yeah. Mr. Wonderful will make an offer at the last minute, just kind of help you out. Thanks for coming. See you later. Get on the road. I wish they did more follow-ups with those companies. You know how they do a behind the tank or after the tank show? They have that entire thing. I think whenever they make a deal with a company, and if it's an old company, and I know this would be a lot of work for the editors, like we should do a follow-up with that thing immediately.
How about an undercover boss, but undercover shark?
Not a bad idea there. I mean, very different than what I was just talking about there, but that could be a completely
Well,
different
it's
show.
like the after, what's going on in the business.
Yeah, but they do like flashbacks to other companies that they've made deals with within the Shark Tank episodes. But I don't want to hear about that company that was on season 2 that I didn't even know existed. I want to hear about the company that you guys just invested in. And how do you do that? Well, they would have to re-edit the show, I guess, which would take a lot of work. Make the show better, though.
Yeah.
Make the show better. Show's damn good, though.
Yeah.
I want to be a shark one day. I would like to be
That'd be
sitting
awesome.
there like this. I see what you're doing.
Shark shirt on.
Shotgun's dead, huh?
Yeah.
Dead.
No,
So
no, no.
Shark Tank is not. 20 minutes after the hour, got to get to a break. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
I got a mic for 15 seconds before I hit the anvil. I've been trying to time myself out for 15 seconds. I've never spoken for 15 seconds before. There's no chance. It's a new era for college football. All right, let's go. You're all badasses. Thank you all for your service. Have an incredible day out there. It's the safest place in America right now. Holy hell. All right, everybody smile. You're probably not supposed to. Hey, safe travels. We appreciate the hell out of all of you. Go kick ass. Hoo-ah. Hey, the best game in the history of the drumline is going to be today. You guys are going to steal the show and set the goddamn. How's it going? My name's Pat. I swing a big hammer, and when I talk, people listen. A long fucking day. So I had to switch it to damn. When I get going like that, it really catches. Hey, big cold swing today, huh? Another week about to start, Foxy. Triple H texted me, said he enjoyed it. Nice. He said if anybody's making fun of you for the size of your hammer, just tell them it's not the size, it's how you swing it.
If you're listening to the show right now,
See, that mask, just so everybody knows, we are in a county that is, if you can't social distance, you have to wear a mask. Zito, since he is the only one in our entire studio that can't social distance, has a mask on. But Zito refuses to believe that this is for COVID-19. This is strictly for the diet that you're on. It's called
you can't eat hot dogs with a mask on.
Yeah, tape your mouth shut, basically, diet.
Basically.
Not a bad diet.
Why can't Zito social distance?
Because I'm between Foxy and Jay.
What are you talking about?
Are you talking about the proportions of his body?
Oh, come on.
Nick.
I'm not saying. Pat said.
You just
I
said
did not
it, Nick.
say that.
You said Zito can't social distance.
Because of the position that he sits in on an everyday basis. That's all-terrain Z,
Are you
too.
saying because I'm a big body?
Whoa. Short hair with a big body.
What's up?
He's got
Two
like,
tens both sitting shot.
he's got 10 different jobs there. He has to sit there because he's the connection between the two guys. We would have had him move out here so we could all properly be socially distanced.
that'd be a bad
That's why he has the mask on. Now, the mask is not covering his nose, and it's barely covering his
You
mouth.
can't smell COVID.
Bingo. That's exactly what it is. Look at us, though. And you're trying to take us back.
Come
by the way.
on,
Smell a
Nick.
hot dog though.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It is a problem.
What's the body shaming all about?
Nick.
Ty, what's the body shaming all about?
I don't know, but I don't like it.
Me neither. Oh, you don't like it? That's weird. Because normally your little tag team in toxicity.
Oh, no. Hey, listen, I'd never take a shot at Z.
Yeah. If you're listening to the Body Shame Show right now.
Oh, jeez.
Well done.
That's not what I meant, though, Z.
No, of course.
Nick did.
Did you really, Nick?
I mean, it is hard for you to maintain proper distance between everyone in the office.
Oh, now you're beating
Because I
around
have
the
quick
bush.
feet. Quick
Just because
feet.
you say it in like a softer fashion
Yeah,
doesn't mean that the
exactly.
words aren't as sharp. Okay? That's unbelievable. Zito, you don't deserve that.
Thank you. I want you to take a second and look. Don, when was the last time you shaved your
See,
junk?
now I saw what you just said there.
What'd you do?
You just said what? What'd you just say about him?
Oh, you say you can't look Don?
Is that what you said?
Is that what
I
you
didn't say anything.
Yeah, you did.
What
As
you
soon as he
said?
said, look down, your eyes go.
I
will-
glanced. I looked down.
I will say I couldn't watch TV last night because the belly was hot. It was rough. But when was the last time you shaved your junk? It's been a while, don't lie. Let's take a second to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, for holding you accountable to get rid of the funk and shaving up that junk. Here's some talking points. Manscaped is the only man's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene. Manscaped forever changed the grooming game with the perfect Package 3.0 Essential Kit, the perfect tools for the family.
Jules.
Come on, guys. This third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nickel-free thanks to Manscaped advanced skin-safe technology. I'm going to call to action real quick.
Hey,
sorry.
nailed it.
Thank you.
No problem. It's not easy to read, by the way, with sunglasses, a hood, and a mask on.
My glasses keep getting fogged up, so it's even harder.
See, those are those cool glasses? They're not cool glasses.
They're not cool glasses.
Those are expensive glasses.
Yeah, they get fogged up, and I'm very mad about them.
Well, that's what happens with the mask, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like when you're on a motorcycle, you have to have glasses on. Don't have to wear a helmet. And you don't have a seatbelt on a bike, but cars have to have a seatbelt.
Yeah.
Once again, we have laws kind of contradicting each other. But you have the mask on your face and then glasses. Oh, it is a problem.
Anti-fog spray from paintball for paintball glasses.
You do need the anti-fog spray. And also, when you wash glass, use newspaper. It doesn't leave any streaks.
Really?
Oh, I don't know. Somebody said that in like 5th grade. I always thought it was BS.
That was
but
big newspaper telling you that.
yeah, probably.
It's the only way they're staying in business.
Oh, like a ShamWow.
Yeah.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AMERICA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code AMERICA. Your partner, your body, and your balls will thank you.
All right, there you go. A girl on the internet just shot her shot with Connor.
No.
Nice.
Tell Connor I said hi. Congratulations to you, Connor. I can't wait to see how you blow that opportunity there.
Oh, I just won't respond. What do you mean?
I think she tweeted at a couple people in the show, but not you. So I think she wanted us to relay a message to you. So I would like to let you know that your existence with only your trees could change, I guess. Somebody on the internet's trying to make that happen.
Well, to that hello, I say goodbye.
What?
Whoa. He's playing hard again.
Why are you doing that?
I like my life. I enjoy it very much, actually.
Yeah, you do.
I like playing video games
It's a
whenever
good
I have
life.
nothing to do.
Okay, so you're saying you won't be able to do that.
Look, free time is free time. If I do anything else, it becomes not free time.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I don't like video games, though. So my life is perfect, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm getting married.
Hell yeah.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, my life is not perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
That is interesting because like I feel like this could get a deep conversation. We got Ariel in 30 seconds, so I don't want to get into it. But it does feel as if everybody portrays themselves as living a perfect life all the time because that's what social media is. And that probably feeds into a problem that people have. Like, my life isn't like that life.
Exactly.
Know that everybody is miserable at some point, even the most positive people. Know that everybody is tired. It's just not. I just don't want to post about it the times that I'm miserable and tired and potentially hate somebody. It's because it's like, I don't want to bring your day down. Right. But know that that is not how it works. Now, Connor potentially might have a non-miserable, never tired life because the guy is just floating around on life, bouncing around, which, by the way, ignorance is bliss. Keep it going, son.
Exactly. I love it.
Keep it going, son.
Head in the clouds, baby.
What's on your dry erase board before we get to Ariel Helwani?
Oh, man. Pat the Patriot, number 1, 2002 to 2020.
We did have a conversation, just a week ago, about what number Cam Newton will decide on for the New England Patriots. And Connor was dead set on the fact that there's no way he could wear number 1 for the New England Patriots because an 18-year vet in Pat the Patriot is already number 1.
I mean, we won 5 Super Bowls with the guy, you know? It's just give the guy some respect. I just hope they put his number in the rafters.
Well, they won't because the number is now on Cam Newton's back and will be a much bigger part of the entire process of the Patriots winning. But I think Pat the Patriot will love that you don't know who the actual human is. Pat the Patriot, the costume, will absolutely love the fact that you thought about it.
It'll live on, and I'm hoping that they go 17 on the front, 76 on the back, just like the Patriots, baby.
Okay, because Patriot got it because of the
Minutemen, everything, you know.
All right, let's pivot. Let's go over to Yas Island. Ladies and gentlemen, Fight Island has become a real thing. A man that told us all about the Fight Island, the fight world, and maybe a little bit of a interesting situation with old Dana White because the comment section on Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, ESPN MMA insider, friend of the show, Ariel Helwani. Oh, it's frozen. You got terrible Wi-Fi. Is that Dana White coming after you? No, you're back.
Man.
You're back.
Okay, here I am.
Yeah, you're back.
Hello, Pat. How are you?
I'm great, Ariel. How are you?
Let me be the last to congratulate you on the big deal that you announced yesterday. And can I just say, can I just say something? You know, I'm all about being a part of a team and helping out others. And that video that you posted, hooking up the boys with the bags of money, that was tremendous stuff. That was probably the best content that you've ever put out there. So well done to you, my man. That was incredible.
Thank you. Damn. Ariel, I don't know. Thank you. The boys are pumped too.
Yeah.
I mean, boys are pumped. Great.
Yeah.
Have you seen Office Championship Wrestling? To say that that's the best piece of content we've ever put out. Look up Office Championship Wrestling. Still think we should have won an Emmy, even though it was not on television for that thing.
Unfortunately, I missed that episode, but I'm all about heartwarming things. I'm all about being a mensch. You know what being a mensch is, Pat? You know what a mensch is?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, bro. A mensch is a good
Thank
guy.
you.
I know everything about it.
Exactly.
Deshaun Jackson,
You're a
for
mensch.
instance, not a mensch. Let's get to this conversation, though, about Fight Island this weekend. We appreciate the
What about this Chuck Person T-shirt for you guys in Indianapolis? What about the Rifleman, Pat? Come on.
Okay.
What about him? I wore this for you.
Big sports show. Couldn't even guess who that guy is.
Chuck Person? You don't know who the Rifleman is? Former Indiana Pacer, one of the all-time greats?
The Rifleman? Yeah, I know the Rifleman. Come on.
Okay. Sorry.
Fight Island this weekend is nowhere near the beach. Nowhere near the beach. It is in an indoor arena, obviously, but there is a cage set up on the beach that is beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. The shot is beautiful. And I don't know if it was a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago when it happened, the comment just got sent in. Ariel Helwani says that the arena is nowhere near the beach. Dana White says Ariel Helwani doesn't know jack squat, basically, with the S word there. And then as of last night, they tweet out the venue, and it's nowhere near the beach. And you go, wait a minute, I thought. How has this entire Fight Island transformed, you think, from thought, like potential conception, to what it is actually going to be? How do you think how much of it has changed? And is this basically what Dana White's vision has been since the beginning, you think?
You know, Pat, you know how many times I've been right in my career? I've been right millions and millions of times. And so you can add this one to the list. So let me just be very clear right here and now. this is a brilliant move on the UFC's part. The reason why they had to make this Fight Island, quote unquote, on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi a reality is because they couldn't get the international fighters to fight in America, right? So that's why we're getting fighters like Jose Aldo and Alexander Volkanovski and Jessica Andrade and Darren Till and Robert Whittaker later on in the month, because they've set this up. And they've actually done it in a great way. They've created this bubble atmosphere, a safety zone, if you will. The fighters are going to have to get tested 5 times in total. As you may know, the main event got canceled late last week after Gilbert Burns tested positive for COVID-19. So they're doing everything right. The only thing I took issue with was, you know, the posters with the cage on the beach and the waves crashing and the palm trees. I just wanted to let people know that if you're tuning in on Saturday to see that kind of scene, you're going to be disappointed. But also, let me just say, if you're tuning in on Saturday just to see that kind of scene, I mean, go turn on Baywatch or something. Like, if you're a fight fan, this card is incredible. It's the best fight card of the year. So thus far, it's turned out to be a stroke of genius because the promotion was great. Everyone loves saying Fight Island. And in the end, the MMA gods were smiling down upon us because we got the fight that we wanted, right? We got Jorge Masvidal, game bred from the 305 Westchester zone, the man who grew up on the streets of Miami, fought in backyards on the undercard of a Kimbo Slice video, and now he's fighting for the belt after 17 years in the sport. What more do you want? You guys can sit around talking about your revenue sharing and your bubbles and all this stuff. We got fights going on Saturday, Pat. Come on.
Hey, hell of a promo right there. I want to let you know, that's how Dana White should be very pumped about you. He shouldn't be saying you don't know anything because you just cut a hell of a promo for this weekend. Let's talk about this weekend. Gilbert Burns, never heard of him. Sure, he's a great fighter. Wouldn't want to fight him. Jorge Masvidal answering this fight in 5 days. He says he has to lose 20 pounds, and he just re-upped the deal, I think, because there was a conversation about money with Dana White. It feels like, like you said, the MMA gods were smiling down on this. This potentially makes this now, Fight Island was awesome, but the fact for the casual fan like me, or the casual fan like everybody else, as soon as I hear this Jorge Masvidal's in there against Usman, he has to take this fight last second, I think that just ups the anticipation for this entire thing massively. And now that Jorge's got a new deal done with Dana, what is the future? Are both belts on the line here? What was the agreement that for Jorge for his next fights, or is that just all TBD, we'll pay you this going forward?
Okay, well, I think you just asked me 6 questions in one.
Well, answer them, Ariel.
Geez,
answer
Louise.
them.
I mean, all of a sudden, the guy gets a few dollars from FanDuel, and he thinks he can ask 6 questions in one.
It's a lot of dollars.
All right, so
not just a few, a lot of dollars.
First of all, Masvidal's manager clarified that statement with me yesterday. He didn't sign a new long-term deal. It was just basically a one-fight addendum, right? So he got paid a lot. He got paid what he wanted for this fight, but it wasn't a long-term deal. So I think that's important to note. Number 2, yes, I agree. This fight is infinitely more interesting. It appeals to the casuals, right? It appeals to everyone. Everyone loves Masvidal's story, BMF title, all that stuff. And I think they may have just added 300,000 to 500,000 more pay-per-view buys as a result of Masvidal. He is worth every penny that they gave him. Number 3, the BMF title isn't on the line. I personally think it should be on the line. Dana White said that it's a one-off. That belt, as you know, kind of hokey and fugazi as it was, it got people talking. People like talking about the BMF title, right? And I mean, obviously, you would never, qualify. Someone like me with these 24-inch pythons would certainly qualify. I mean, you with those rinky-dink arms would never qualify for a BMF title. But they're only doing a one and done.
Ariel,
so
you don't.
Won't be on the line.
Ariel, you don't just get to say what other people's arm sizes are for yourself. Like, that's not how. With these 24, brother, I'll come in with the pythons. But why? You have The Rock bring it out. I mean, The Rock is massive. They make a big deal of it. So that BMF title will never be on the line ever again. It was just kind of a one-run promotion there for Madison Square Garden?
Here's where I think it may return. If Masvidal wins on Saturday, he wants to run it back with Nathan Diaz, the guy who, by the way, created the BMF title, just out of nowhere, from his mind, top of mind in the middle of the cage. I think if he wins, they'll run it back late next year, and they'll maybe figure out a way to say, it's a champion versus champion, or it's a dual title fight, first time in UFC history. It'll be sort of like when the mega powers collided. You remember when Macho Man and it was Macho Man and Hogan came together. So it'll be sort of like that. Actually, it'll be nothing like that. I don't know why I said that.
No, it's two big names swinging at each other, tough guys that everybody knows that. The Diaz family is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen as an athlete, with the amount of vitamins that they inhale and the fact that they just swim back and forth to that island out there. What's that island out there in California? The jail island?
Alcatraz.
And then they the Diaz family should be a case study moving forward on how are these humans just the most badass humans existing. But let's talk about the BMF title this weekend and champion, which is Jorge Masvidal. A lot of people say Usman's going to beat the hell out of him. Like people that are smart in the fighting world say this is Usman's fight. Is that because Jorge came in last second? Now, because we had a caller on our show and he sounded legit. Gilbert Burns, I think he was from Missouri. Gilbert Burns is a wrestler. So was Usman potentially training for a very different style than what Jorge Masvidal is going to do? And I bet on Jorge Masvidal as soon as this happened at like plus 230 or something like that. Is he going to win this thing? Is there any chance he wins this thing, or is this a toss-up either?
Well, first off, Gilbert Burns is more of a jiu-jitsu player, so meaning he is great on the ground, but he's well known for his grappling, his submissions, things of that nature. That type of stuff, yes. Also, that as well, yes. Also, it is worth noting that Usman and Burns were longtime friends and teammates, so they knew each other, and it was a bit of an awkward situation. I actually think this is better for Usman because he's going from someone he likes to someone he really dislikes. But yes, Burns and Masvidal are completely different fighters. Now, also worth noting, I know everyone's hung up on the short notice thing, and it's worth talking about, but it's not a true short notice fight because Masvidal was in talks to fight Usman on this date for months. You know, the UFC had been talking about this fight headlining July 11th for months. So it's not like he was sitting on the couch just, eating potato chips or whatever. The guy had a premonition, even when the fight was taken away from him, that something might happen. They call him Street Jesus. Maybe he's, speaking to a higher power. So he kept training for the fight. So I think that's a good pick on your part. I think he's a live dog. And people are thinking that Usman's going to win because he's a tremendous wrestler, and they think they're gonna see Usman ragdoll Masvidal. Let me tell you what, Jorge Masvidal is a very underrated wrestler. He's got good takedown defense, and I don't think that Usman's going to have the cakewalk that people think he's going to have. At the end of the day, could he win the fight? Absolutely. He's a great fighter, undefeated in the UFC. But I think this fight is going to be a lot closer than people think.
A couple thoughts about him being Street Jesus and potentially getting words from gods about what's about to happen. Troy Polamalu is a Hall of Famer because of that type of stuff. Like, that is literally how Troy Polamalu played safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is God told him things that were going to happen. He ruined my life and plenty of other people's lives. Street Jesus, this could potentially be happening too. He knew what was going to happen with Ben Askren, who's a wrestler. You saw the video of him basically having a premonition as to what's going to happen. I mean, I kind of called it as well. But the fact that he thought and knew that this fight was going to happen, maybe he does have a little DMT connection with the old Jesus and knows what's going to happen. He put out that graphic that said full-time fighter. I love that. It's like, hey, I'm ready all the time, whenever. Ben Askren actually put out a tweet because I think two people said they'll step in for Gilbert Burns. It was Jorge and one other fighter. Who was the other fighter?
Colby Covington.
And Ben Askren said, Colby's lying. Jorge is not. And then whenever the fight got picked up, I feel like this has been a massive respect earned for Jorge Masvidal around the MMA community. Is that accurate in stating that?
100%. All the fighters love him, and they support him, and they like his style, and they also love that the guy, has paid his dues. You're a supposed big sports fan, although you didn't know who Chuck Person was.
Oh, the Rifleman. The Rifleman.
Yeah.
Rifleman, bro. Take it easy, dude.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, in what other sport do you see a guy who's been in the game 17 years and only now does he become a superstar, right? Like, usually year 17, you're kind of trailing off. You're at the end of the bench. It's looking a little sad. This guy has turned into a megastar, maybe top 3 biggest draws in the sport in year 17. It's absurd. So everyone's happy for him. But in Colby's defense, my understanding is he really did want to take this fight. They just never called him. They never offered him a fight because obviously Masvidal was the bigger draw, and that was the fight that they wanted originally. So I don't know if Colby is truly a keyboard warrior. He's a really tough fighter, but the UFC wanted Masvidal. They called him, and they got the deal done.
Oh, maybe Colby and Ben Askren get after it then because of that tweet. Maybe that's what
Ben's retired. It reminds me a lot of when, didn't people tell you that you shouldn't retire and then you should go on and get the helmet back on?
Yeah.
I don't remember who said that.
Mike Wilpon. You sure heard what Dan Maggiano said just a couple weeks ago.
Man.
I mean, it never ends. It never ends, Ariel. It never, ever ends. So my money's safe on Jorge. Is the 20-pound cut in 5 days that big of a deal?
No, not for Jorge Masvidal. This guy's never missed weight. He's a pro. The one thing that does give me a little bit of pause is the fact that he had to fly from Miami to Vegas on Sunday, and then he had to go from Vegas to Abu Dhabi, 13-hour flight, stop in Rio. For some reason, he decided to have a pizza in Rio because he said, actually, no, he stopped in Rome, because he said, when in Rome, you have to, I mean, he's smart. He's smart, Street Jesus. But they said he's okay. I checked in with his team yesterday, and they said that they're on target and they have no they have no fear that he's going to miss weight. The weigh-ins are tomorrow morning, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern.
How do you feel about the timing of it? They're doing it, 6 a.m. local time so that we can watch it 10 p.m. Our time? I would assume Jorge's team is just keeping him on the Eastern Standard Time Zone throughout this entire process, sleeping during the day, up at night. Was that ever a thought to do this thing in the middle of the day like the World Cup does if games are over there? WWE, when they have their crown jewel in Saudi Arabia, they have it in the middle of the day. Was there ever a thought for that for Dana, or was he big time like, hey, we don't care about the local time. Let's go whatever America is?
Yeah, because first of all, there are no fans, right? So you're not turning off the local crowd by doing it in the middle of the night. And also historically, when you do a pay-per-view in the middle of the day, it bombs. People are used to watching UFC fights Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, main card, etc. And he doesn't want to confuse people. So I think it was a smart move, and it doesn't affect the Masvidals and Usmans of the world because they just got there. So all they have to do is just stay on their local time zone, and they'll be fine. It really does affect, in my opinion, the Volkanovskis who's from Australia or some of the other European fighters on the undercard because they're used to, this is their local time zone. Now they're going to have to adjust and get off that time zone. So that's a little funky for them. Like, could you imagine walking to a fight at 5, 6 a.m.? And plus you have to wake up several hours before and get warmed up. It's a tough spot. I feel for them, but for the American fighters, I don't think it will be an issue.
Ariel, we have to get to a break on radio. Will you stick with us for YouTube?
Absolutely, but I charge. For YouTube, I charge. So it's around $50,000 per minute.
Oh, you want a backpack? That's what it sounds like. That seems like that's going to be the new thing with me, and I kind of walked right into that. I'll get you a backpack, dude. Let's see how. I was going to swear that we're not on YouTube. I mean, let's see how good the conversation is. I'll tell you whether or not is it backpack worthy. We'll find out. It's youtube.com/the Pat McAfee Show. The conversation with Ariel Helwani continues. We're going to break on radio. Clear. Ariel, I'm tired of your fucking shit. I'm joking. Is there any other, like when you say showing up to a fight at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., like in Pittsburgh, South Side, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., if you're walking around, need to keep your head on a swivel. Probably a fight coming anyways. It's going to be a couple zombies. But that would be a very interesting thing for the local fighters over there. And I think the last time you were on this show, you said Fight Island was created for the international fighters. American fighters will fight in the basement in Las Vegas, and then the international fighters will fight on Fight Island. There's a lot of Americans fighting now over on Fight Island. Is that just because the card kind of fell how it was, or is that just...
Well, for two reasons. Number one, it takes two to tango, right? So, if you needed one international fighter to be a part of a fight, for example, Volkanovski versus Holloway, the co-main event. Alexander Volkanovski is based in Australia. He's the featherweight champion. Holloway is based in Hawaii. You couldn't do that fight in America, so this is the best place for it. And then the undercard has a bunch more international fighters, and this is one of 4 cards that is happening in July in Abu Dhabi. So you've got the 11th of July, the 15th, the 18th, and the 25th. And those cards as well. There are some American fighters on the card, make no mistake about it, but there's a ton of international fighters. The UFC was sort of, running out of options with just doing these shows in America. They've done a great job. I don't want to take anything away from them. I know some people are saying that I'm being a hater by calling out the fact that it's not happening on the beach. Okay. I'm just telling you like it is. Helwani knows, Pat, isn't just a gimmick. It's a lifestyle, and it has nothing to do with the size of my nose, even though some people like to think it does. It has to do with the fact that, I'm a sure thing. When I tell you it's going to be one way, it's going to be one way.
I got a massive sniffer as well. Is Dana going to live just over there for the next 4 weeks? Is that
yeah.
And he's just going to live Eastern Standard Time Zone for the next month in Abu Dhabi?
Well, to be honest, I haven't asked him what his plans were in terms of his sleeping
schedule.
Well,
let's talk about it. Let's think about it out loud here. He's going to have to do that. That is just... And are you and him still beefing right now? Is this a beef? Are you and Dana White beefing?
No beef. I'm all about love. I'm all about harmony and unity. I'm all about those kinds of things, Pat. So there's no beef on this side of the fence. I don't know about his side of the fence, but I'm Gucci. Look at me. I'm sitting in a spare bedroom and about to cover one of the biggest shows of the year happening halfway across the world, and I'm sitting here in my shorts wearing a Chuck Person T-shirt. I mean, what's better than this?
Nothing. Ariel, we appreciate you, man. That wasn't worth $50,000, but it was good.
No, it wasn't. I kind of felt like when you asked me to stick around, like we were gonna, like this was gonna be the real conversation. Like, oh, I broke through the threshold of the radio spot. Now I'm getting the YouTube, like uncensored spot. So you asked me like 2 sort of subpar questions, and then you just told me to go.
Ariel, to be honest, I don't know enough about the sport to ask you a good question. You know what I mean? Like
That's it? You got nothing else? You don't know anything about Paige Van Zandt?
Oh, yeah, okay. She's going to lose. I was told she's going to lose. I was told Paige Van Zandt's going to lose. She's 1-2 in her last 3 fights or something like that. She's kind of, I don't want to, somebody on, this is a phone caller, by the way. This is another phone caller, maybe from Colorado this time. He told me Paige Van Zandt's going to lose. Is there any other fights that you think are going to be a little bit awe-inspiring, a little bit what?
Well, Paige is a fascinating one because this is the last fight of her contract. A lot of UFC fighters don't like to roll the dice and test the free agent market. She is testing the free agent market. She thinks she deserves a lot more money than she got. She got really popular. She was on Dancing with the Stars back when it was like a real thing to be on Dancing with the Stars, and people really love her. She's got like millions of Instagram followers and all that stuff. But the other fight that is worth noting, there's two. I'll say them very quickly. Petr Yan is an incredible fighter. He's fighting in the tri-main event for the bantamweight title. This guy is going to be a star, and I suspect he'll win the belt on Saturday. And Thug Rose Namajunas, the former strawweight champion of the UFC, is returning for the first time in a year and a half. One of the most popular fighters and fun fighters. She's been through some personal issues, but she's back to reclaim her spot at 115. I'm very excited to see her back.
There's no such thing as a tri-main event. Just want to let you know that. Yeah, you can have your tea all you want. There's no such thing as a fucking tri-main event. I mean,
why? There's 3 title fights on the card. You got the main, you got the co-main, you got the tri-main.
No, there's main event. That's the reason why it's the main event.
And then there's the co, and then there's the tri.
No, Ariel, there's no. In this particular case, there is a co-host happening between guy who knows fighting and guy who doesn't know fighting. But in my dumb eyes, there's no such thing as a tri-main event. That is just not a real thing.
To be honest, I've never heard of that term. I just tried to salvage it because I was like, driving and I didn't know what else to say, so I just made it up.
Hey, you can do that anytime you want on this show, brother. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, ESPN MMA insider and reporter and stud, Ariel Helwani. A rifleman. Thank you, Ariel. You're the man.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
He's awesome. I mean, what the fuck was I supposed to ask him?
I think we covered it all.
Covered everything. Yeah. What do you want from me?
It's a big fight show.
Fuck. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee show. We are about to wrap up the show here in a couple of minutes. We've been talking for now an hour and 51 minutes with a couple commercial breaks in there. And we are a live show, and there's things that we should cover because we feel like we could potentially be the source for everything you need to know if you want to have a conversation with anybody about anything happening. And to do that, we go to our friend Frank Morodo.
That was a lot. I got no shot.
Go for it.
Do
it.
The things I'm about to say are brought to you by Manscaped.
That's Manscaped.
Say it,
Manscaped offers up precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Go to manscaped.com. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code AMERICA. Via Emily Kaplan of ESPN, she's reporting that the plan for the NHL is to have 3 games a day in each of the hub cities, starting at 12 p.m., 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. Now, given the 2-hour difference between Toronto and Edmonton, that should make watching it a viewer's dream.
So it's going to be 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Yes. All day long.
Oh, my God. Let's go, NHL. Let's go. Sticks on puck, skates on ice. Sidney Crosby going to be hoisting Lord Stanley's COVID Cup here momentarily. Can't wait to watch the Pittsburgh Penguins dominate this entire thing.
Huge news in the wrestling world last night. NXT North American champ Keith Lee took on the longest reigning NXT champion Adam Cole, baby, and pinned his ass after hitting him with the BBC to end Cole's 403-day title reign and take home both championships.
He hit him with the BBC?
The Big Bang Catastrophe.
Yeah, he did. He slammed him with that BBC. Now listen, Keith Lee, I will bask in his glory, okay? Woo, woo. Keith Lee, big fan, obviously. He's now a double champ in the WWE, North American champ and NXT champion. And the man that he beat happens to be a guy who we all believe is a stooge, complete stooge in Adam Cole. But you cannot discount a 403-day run as a champion in any promotion, especially the hottest brand in NXT. So congrats to Keith Lee. Congrats to Adam Cole for having a great run. But thank God he's no longer the face of NXT because I'm forced to talk about that on pre-shows about him being good.
He's insufferable.
He is insufferable, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
But he was a great champion.
Oh, yeah.
Great champion. And this isn't me dancing on his grave.
No.
Congrats to Keith Lee. It's a big deal. Double champ in the NXT. Thanks for that news that we should talk about because we're a daily show and we should be able to provide people with everything they need to know to have a conversation with anybody about anything. This has been Thursday, July 9th, the Pat McAfee Show. You're the greatest. We will see you mañana. Cheers.